Hello, and welcome to Odds on Serie A Matchday 29th. We left last weekend with Leo Bachanian saying that Juventus had a chance to win the Scudetto. I don't think it's the case, Leo. And now the big question mark, of course, is if Atalanta is able to win the Scudetto. We have Atalanta-Inter, a derby Lombardo. So it's a great chance to have a three-horse race. Leo Bachanian, hello.
Hello, Edu. Yes, absolutely. It should be the last 10 games should take this Serie A to the wire, hopefully. But wait, let me correct something. Yes, I asked that rhetoric question. Is Juventus now in the title race? Because they were 6 points behind leaders Inter. But at the same time, I said the answer was going to be against Atalanta. So the answer definitely is no. But I recognize you told me before the game that no, they are not in the title race, and the thrashing 4-0 at home, the worst defeat in 57 years in Italian football for Juventus, has given us the answer. It's all about Inter, Napoli, and Atalanta.
Still on the bench, Mota, although of course heavily criticized and very hard for him to continue. I think the season is in Nero Azzurro for Inter in the quarterfinals also of the Champions League. Yep. And let's see if they are able to get a positive result from Bergamo again, another derby in Italy. So guys, stay with us. We have a fascinating Serie A weekend. Of course, press the like, subscribe. Let's go on now with the show. Well, not that exciting the first game. Leo, on Friday, Genoa Lecce. I think we went for a draw in Genoa Cagliari. It was written all over it. 2 consecutive draws for Genoa. 11 draws this season, the king of the draw. Lecce, they had a great game against Milan last weekend. We were very close to see so many surprises after 3 consecutive defeats and winless. In the last 5, they were taking the lead 2-0 to Milan. They ended up losing, and they are still fighting for relegation. But of course, Genoa are favorites for this one.
Yes, we went for the draw last time, and guess which route I'm going to be taking in this one, in this Genoa Lecce, to start the match day 29 on Friday. Yeah, Lecce finally scored last weekend, Edu, after 4 games without finding the back of the net, and they did it twice against Milan. An absolute red event to see Lecce scoring a brace, as they have only managed to do that or more in a game only 2 times before last weekend. It was painful for them because after 60 minutes, they were 2-0 up in the game. 𝐿𝐿𝐴, Lecce's number 9, scoring both goals. The first one, a great effort from outside of the box. He has now 9 goals this season. He scored 21% of Lecce's goal last season, and in this one, he has almost 50% of the team's goal, 9 out of 20, and in 6 of the 8 games in which he scored, Lecce avoided defeat. It couldn't be the case against Milan. They are now on 3 consecutive defeats, but still 3 points above the red zone. The last 2 wins for Lecce have both been away from home, Parma and Empoli. Would they do that in Genoa? Well, I doubt that, to be honest. Genoa haven't lost a game at home since December, and that was against Napoli, which was actually the only home game they lost since Patrick Vieira arrived. Since then, they won 3 and drew 1 of the last 4 at home. All those wins as well have been against relegation battling teams like Parma, Venezia, and Monza, and in all of them they produced a clean sheet. They rescue a point in Sardinia with Max Cornet, 2 goals in the last 3 games for him. Vieira wasn't happy with what he saw at home in matchday 27 in that draw with Empoli, because he made 5 changes against Cagliari, and I guess he wasn't even happy as well after the first half, because it was very poor from Genoa. Probably there is a case of Genoa's players relaxing a little bit, knowing that they won't be looking down anymore this season. I think no one is expecting goals here. Goals under 2.5 is at 1.5 at the moment. For Lecce, a point will be well received. My take here is a draw at 3.1.
Draw always that Genoa is on the pitch is a very good idea. Genoa double chance and goals under 2.5 for Leo Messi. Stephen is also pointing at that direction with Genoa winning 1-0. Let's talk about the relegation. This game is massive on Saturday. We have Monza, Parma, another big surprise, almost a big surprise in Serie A last weekend, with Monza taking the lead 2-0 in San Siro against the top of the table Inter, but they ended up losing. So it's only 1 point in the last 8 games for Monza going for Serie B. This is something that Parma wants to avoid. Leo, they got a draw against Torino with Pellegrino scoring a brace, but they lost the last 4 away games.
Yes, and it's 6 defeats in the last 7 away from home. But this game is massive for Parma because this is all about them. We said that with Monza a long time ago. They're Serie B already, even though the math could be saying something different. But we all know the truth. And why I'm saying this is crucial for Parma, not only because it is Monza. Now is Monza. The following week they're gonna play Verona. But after Monza and Verona, this is what comes for Parma in a straight match day. They're gonna have Inter, Juventus, Fiorentina, and Lazio in a row. So that's why this game is massive for them. If Lecce scored twice, and we were all surprised, what you say about Monza doing the same as well in San Siro, and also similar fashion to Lecce going up 2-0. But once Arnautovic reduced the deficit just right before the break, before halftime, I think we all knew that Monza was going to make the short trip back home empty-handed. 7 defeats in the last 8 for them, but at least they scored in 45 minutes the same amount that in the last 5 matches for Alessandro Nesta's team. But again, the relevance for this game is all about Parma. Matteo Pellegrino, 2 goals since he came from the bench in the 55th minute. In total, since his debut in Serie A in January, is 2 goals in 52 minutes of play for the ex-Platense and Vélez Sarsfield player. He will probably start on Saturday. Is 4 points in 3 games since Christian Chibu took Parma as manager. Again, my take here is all about Parma. Is the team that needs the win, and for me is 𝑋𝐿 with good odds. Parma to win 2.55.
Pass for Leo Messi, key one. This one for relegation. Next one, Udinese, Verona. Also Verona in the relegation battle. 4 points away from Empoli, even if they don't win. 4 defeats in the last 5 games. Udinese are in good form. Leo, they drew with Lazio, and before that they beat Parma, Lecce, or Empoli 2-0. So they are favorites for this one.
Yeah, it was good to point at the double chance at the Olimpico between Lazio and Udinese. It continued to be a very good season for them, Edu. They have already amassed 3 more points than in all of last season, Udinese. Not since 2013 they have collected this tally after 28 matches. They have won 5 more games than last season already. It's 4 wins and 2 draws in the last 6 for them. That point in the capital was very good. Maybe they didn't hit the level that we saw Udinese at the Diego Armando Maradona against Napoli a few weeks ago, but they didn't need to anyway because it wasn't a great game, to be honest. The best chance in the second half for Udinese came with a free kick, but they didn't need to suffer at their own end neither. Florian Thauvin scoring the opening goals, 8 goals this season for him. Between 2016 and 2019 in Marseille, he scored 15, 22, and 16 times in 3 consecutive seasons. Since then, this is his best season, his best goal-scoring season for Florian Thauvin, a player who is a leader and the captain for Udinese, who manages when to attack, when to hold the ball, and he's also the one who provides the most assists for Lorenzo Luca. And Verona, traveling at the back of another defeat, is 4 in the last 5. They never matched Bologna in any aspect last weekend. They scored to make it 1-2, but even in the last 10 minutes, they never threatened to equalize. They were playing with 10 men because Nicolas Valentini, Fiorentina's player who is on loan in Verona, saw a red card, and the story with them keeps being of a team that lost 18 times in 28 games, but they are still nonetheless 4 points above the relegation zone. The odds on Udinese are good, and I will take them Udinese to win 1.80.
Very favorite. David is going also Udinese winning here. Home win looks good to me for Penchev. Stephen Boyle, Udinese to win and score over 1.5 goals. Also 𝐬𝐭𝐚𝐲 going for Udinese. So we have consensus here. Everyone going for Udinese. Tricky game next one. Milan 𝐿 because it's impossible to trust this Milan. What a game we saw against Lecce at the end. Leao and 𝗵𝗵𝗄 made the difference with this comeback. João Felix, even if he contributed with the own goal scored by Lecce, but it was a big miss from the Portuguese. Again, not making an impact in his games, in his months at Milan. Remember that they were coming from 3 straight defeats. And remember, Leo, that even if 𝐿𝐵 drew with Venezia, they can be very dangerous. I could see here 𝐿𝐵 scoring or some drama for Milan.
Yeah, well, Milan is getting so used to drama this season. Everything is a drama for Milan at the moment. For 𝐿𝐵, was a shame that they were very close to a victory against Venezia, who equalized on added time with a penalty. They could have opened up a 9 points gap with the bottom. Now it's 7 points, which is not bad at the moment for Fabregas' team. 𝐶ESC took Dele Alli to the bench last weekend. He traveled to Roma, Dele Alli, a couple of weeks ago, but did not make it to the bench. But Fabregas said he's working well and may get minutes with Milan. Dele Alli is trying to resurrect his career. And in San Siro, he will see familiar faces like Kyle Walker, with whom he shared and played a pitch in Tottenham under Mauricio Pochettino. This should provide a good entertainment. This Milan 𝐿𝐵, I'm gonna be watching it because this should be an entertaining game. Milan came from behind. We said against Lecce. 𝗵𝗵𝗄 at the wheel, providing a brace. They avoided a 4th consecutive defeat, something that last time happened was 1986. So it was crucial as well for them to win. In fairness, it was a bit crazy that first half Milan went down because Falcones, Lecce's goalkeeper, had 6 saves on that half. Santi Jimenez was very unlucky, hitting the woodwork and having a goal disallowed in the first 45 minutes. He even struck the post as well again in the second half. 𝐜𝐭𝐚𝐲 kept João Felix, Fofana, and Leao all in the bench. He used them in the second half. He really went for the game the last 15 minutes, yes, when he took Kyle Walker out and introduced Ricardo Sotil. They are 6 points behind the Conference League spot. It's possible that if they reach a European place, it will be Massimiliano Allegri, the one who will lead that campaign, because he's closer each week to agree a contract to take them from July. But anyway, this is all far-fetched because 𝐿𝐵 is the most important for the Rossonero, and it won't be easy, as Juventus, Atalanta, Napoli, and Roma can testify. Milan 𝐿𝐵 equals goals for me, Edu, at this moment. My take here, goals over 2.5, 1.81. Sounds good.
𝐿𝐵 play good. 𝑋2 looks like a gift for David. Nico Paz, of course, 𝐷𝗻𝐻, very dangerous for 𝐿𝐵. Both things to score could be a try. I think this is a very good option. Stephen, I love when 𝐿𝐵 plays at home early. He can wake up early and watch the game. I think Cesc Fabregas is making a big impact in the first ever season for 𝐿𝐵 in Serie A.
He's one as well. The Fabregas, one of them, the names that they signed for Milan, although apparently everything is tight with Massimiliano Allegri. And I agree with Stephen when he says that he enjoys the view, and it's true. Every time 𝐿𝐵 plays at home, you want them to attack to the side where you can see the lake in between those two stands.
At one point, you might see someone drinking a cappuccino and looking at the lake with some good fashion brands on them. Very stylish, of course, 𝐿𝐵. And Cesc Fabregas doing a great job. Well, and for Saturday, we also have Torino, Empoli. Empoli in the bottom 3, 22 points to less than Parma. Torino mid-table, but also doing in a great run. They drew with Parma, beat Monza, beat Milan, and Empoli is kind of the opposite. Lost to Roma 1-0 after the draw with Genoa, and they have 3 big games, Leo. They are alive in Coppa Italia. Remember, they are playing semifinals with Bologna, but they also play Como and Cagliari, very important games for the relegation battle next.
Crucial for them, but Torino, I mean, it's not going to be easy, of course, for Empoli. This is a very good season for Torino, or a good season. Another draw, Matchday 28. They already drawn 11 games this season, the Granata. But they lost only one of the last 11. 2 times they took the advantage at the end of Tardini, but they couldn't hold onto those leads. The North Macedonian midfielder, Elif Elmas, continues to enjoy a very good moment since arriving in January. 3 goals in 4 games for him. Player that spent 4 seasons in Napoli. Che Adams scored again after 6 games. He has already 8, and he's Torino's goal scorer this season. 2 wins in the last 3 home games for the Granata. Empoli is, of course, stuck in the red zone. However, just 2 points from Parma in the 17th place. Is 13 games without a win for Empoli. They have conceded in each of the last 70 matches. I don't find the reason why it's not going to be 18 consecutive games conceding after Saturday. On the road, they conceded 11 goals, in the last 4 games. Within this context, the point they took in Genova wasn't bad at all. They will give the initiative in Turin to the Granata, but it's a team that usually does not like to have the ball. Although in the last few games since the arrival of 𝐶𝐴 in midfield, they are trying to change that. The odds on Torino are good for this Torino Empoli. Might take here first half Torino Asian handicap minus 0.25, odds of 2.
Torino double chance for Leo Messi and over 1.5 goals. Of course, big favorites with Empoli struggling in this second part of the season. We have a Super Sunday in Italy, starting with Venezia. Napoli, finally Napoli won the game back after the draw with Inter, beat Fiorentina to keep the battle alive in the 𝐬𝐭𝐴𝐧𝐧𝐞𝐿. They were winless in 5, and they have a very tough schedule. They have Milan and Bologna next. And be careful, Leo, as I always say, when Venezia is playing a big team, they always deliver. They always keep it close, and they are getting points from big teams. They drew recently with Lazio or Atalanta, for instance, and also Como. So the Asian handicap +1 for Venezia is not bad, actually.
Yeah, and I was the first thing I was looking at, Asian handicap plus for Venezia, but at this moment it's 10 finals for Napoli, Edu. And they are showing so much resilience. It was a great win, a massive win against Fiorentina last weekend. It was their best game in more than a month. So the feeling, Edu, scoring lately against Inter to snatch a point, now the win with Fiorentina and playing well, that maybe they are getting back to that level in the moment that matters the most, because it's the last 10 games, the last 30 points in dispute, and they could put pressure on Inter. They're going to be playing before Atalanta Inter, so basically they could be top of the league, top of Serie A before that great game in Bergamo. And look at this. It's not just that it's amazing what Conte and Napoli are doing, and he was right in claiming that people are underestimating Napoli's campaign. That's what Conte said after the game. But look, there's 10 games left, and from those, Napoli will play 6 of them against, or 6 of those games is going to be against teams in the bottom 7. The only 2 games in which they're going to face teams from the 10th position and above is going to be Bologna and Milan, which are the games that come straight after Venezia. So the fixtures are good for Conte and Napoli. It could have been a huge disappointment against La Viola because Gudmundsson missed a chance in the dying moments, and they lost many points lately as well on added time Napoli. Let's remember what happened as well in at the Olimpico against Roma. Lukaku scored after 6 games. He wasn't scoring since that 2-win against Juventus. He has 10 goals already this season. He responded well to Conte's criticism of his strikers. It wasn't only directed to Lukaku, but Lukaku scored, and that was very, very important for them. Venezia, I said, a good point taken in Como in the dying moments of the game. They drew the last 3 matches, and last time at home they left Lazio without finding the back of the net. But this is different, I believe, with Napoli. With anyway, they still need to rediscover their best defensive form, because it's been 8 consecutive matches for Napoli conceding a goal. But favorite, of course, in here might take Napoli to win. Napoli to win plus goals under 2.5, odds of 2.74.
Venezia is a handicap +1 for Stephen. I like this one. As I said before, Napoli to win 2-0 for Leo Messi, and David is also reminding us another beautiful stadium indeed in Serie A. It took a while to move to this stadium while they were promoted to Serie A, because it was not enough, the characteristics of the stadium, but now they are playing there, and it's a beautiful one with the sights of La Laguna. We go to the Renato Dallara, Bologna, Lazio. Huge game, this one, for the fight for the Champions League. Bologna doing a really good second part of the season now that they are not in the Champions League. Very, very competitive. Beat Verona, 3 consecutive wins. 2-1 for them is 4 wins in the last 5 Serie A games, and Lazio could be distracted with the Europa League. I think they are having too many games this season. It's 3 draws in the last 4 games, Leo. So probably we see Lazio fading away a little bit in the second part of the season, because the squad is not long enough.
No, they don't have a deep squad, that's for sure. And I think against Udinese, it was a little bit nervy at home for Lazio, because they knew they had a chance to take over Juventus on 4th. In the end, they just managed to reduce the gap for 1 point. So basically, I think last weekend, outside of the top 3, the biggest win of all has been Bologna, because Juventus lost at home, Lazio dropped points, and they won. And they are just now 2 points behind Juventus, 1 point behind Lazio. That's why this game is massive. Bologna is enjoying more rest. Lazio playing tonight in Europa League, as you mentioned, although it's a tie which is not settled yet, but it's in their favor, of course, after winning the first leg in the Czech Republic. Bologna arriving at the back of 3 consecutive wins, and all of them 2-1. And to be honest, if we are saying that Conte is doing unbelievable with Napoli, I think Vincenzo Italiano also needs some recognition, because what he's doing with Bologna, having them in 50 points, competing for Champions League spots, is great. He's replicating Bologna's success from last season to a point which seemed like a little bit of like impossible task when Mota left, and many other players like 𝐿𝐴𝐧𝐧𝐸, who have been crucial for this team, also left at the beginning of the season. They are also a team in the semi-final of Coppa Italia. But if unlike Napoli, Bologna's fixture in the run-up to the end of the season seems done by the enemy, because they're gonna still face Juventus, Inter, Atalanta, Milan, Napoli, Fiorentina, and now Lazio on Sunday. I think Italiano, in every team he managed, he was above the expectations. He remains unfairly judged, I would say, for those 3 finals he lost again with Fiorentina. I look at Milan, and I don't see why Italiano couldn't be a better option than Massimiliano Allegri, for example, or why not Roma after Ranieri retires at the end of this season. They won the last 5 at home, Bologna, although the only top 10 team they face in those wins have been Milan. Bologna at home is top 3 in Serie A. They are favorites for the book. Is going on Sunday, but my take won't be 𝐿𝐴𝐧𝐸 or 𝐿𝐴𝐴𝐧𝐸. I'm going the both teams to score yes route 1.91.
Bologna draw no bet for my ACCA. David is saying simply both teams to score for 𝐿𝐵𝐵𝐶 for this game. And Stephen going to 𝗀𝗏𝗀𝐻 indeed. Also a very cool stadium, of course, in Fulham next to the Thames. Very posh. Bring some money because it's a posh neighborhood. Well, you mentioned Ranieri retiring at the end of the season. Let's see, because you never know with Ranieri, and this is a very special game for him, Roma Cagliari, because he retired last summer from Cagliari. We saw him crying in the Sardinia Stadium after saving Cagliari, but Roma called him after a really poor start of the season, and he changed completely the club and the team. Roma getting closer to Europe. When he arrived, they were looking at the bottom three. When he left, they are looking to the European spots. 9 wins and 3 draws in the last 12 Serie A games. These are great numbers. No defeats since the 16th of December, and also playing in the Europa League. Let's see this game in Bilbao. Probably they are gonna be very tired for this tie. Roma playing next Lecce, Juve and Lazio. So they're playing 2 direct rivals for the Champions League spots. Juve and Lazio, they must win this game against Cagliari. 2 points in the last 4 games for the Sardinian team.
Yes, Edu, but despite, and I agree that they're going to be for sure tired, and we're going to see how they arrive, if celebrating or in tears, depending on what happened in Bilbao on Thursday night. But for example, against Empoli, although Cagliari is a better team than Empoli, but still against Empoli, Ranieri made 9 changes and they took a 1-0 win with Mathias Sulé scoring after 25 seconds in the game. Another goal from Mathias Sulé that gives Roma 3 points away from home. The same that happened against Parma when he scored a beautiful free kick. Let's remember that it's 7 wins in the last 8 in all competition for Roma. But let's remember that this team from August 2024 until the 26th of January 2025, they haven't won a single game away from home in Serie A. And since then, it's 4 consecutive wins on the road for Roma. At home, they won 6 and drew 1 of the last 7 matches. They average 2 goals per game at the Olimpico. They have collected 26 points in the opening 10 games of 2025, more than any other team in Europe. Top 5 leagues, Edu, is impressive. And since Ranieri took over, the Giallorossi collected or earned 33 points in 16 league matches. Cagliari is true made life difficult for Juventus in Turin, for Milan in San Siro, for Atalanta in Bergamo. But for me, yes, Roma clear favorites here in this Roma Cagliari. Might take Roma to win combined with goals over 1.5, 2.1 the odds.
Roma to win and under 3.5 goals for Leo Messi. Stephen is highlighting Dybala having a good season. Dybala also not with many injuries, which is a big surprise, always with some problems. When he's fit, of course, he's one of the best of the world. Roma, Asian handicap minus 1.5 for Constantino, so they have to win for 2 goals margin. And we keep going for the Super Sunday in Serie A. Fiorentina, Juventus. This is not a derby, but they hate each other, especially Fiorentina fans. They really hate Juventus, so I'm sure they want to revert the situation because they are falling apart. Fiorentina lost to Napoli. Remember, they are also alive in conference. They have to come back in a tie with Panathinaikos. I'm sure also they will be tired for this game, and is 4 defeats in the last 5 Serie A games for Juventus. Leo, there were rumors this week about Motta being sacked after that heavy defeat against Atalanta, as you mentioned at the beginning.
Yes, but he's still taking training, and to be honest, I don't know, unless something again happened this weekend. I think it's similar to Milan. They're gonna stick with 𝐿𝐴𝐴, and they're gonna stick with Thiago Motta until the end of the season. But it was a humiliating defeat for them. That's what it was said in Italy this week, and another step anyway towards the exit for Motta. We will see if it's now or at the end of the season. Worst home defeat in 57 years for Juventus. It was a true encounter of the master and the student with Gasperini and Mota. Juventus finished with 63% of possession against Atalanta, but they took fewer than half as many shots as Atalanta. If you watch only the highlights, and you see that 4-0 was quite generous to Juventus, because Michele Di Gregorio made several good saves for them. Mota keeps repeating that the objective of the season has always been top four, and the team is there. He repeats that they remain a very young team, all he wants. But Juventus spent 200 million euros last summer. Then in winter they made some bizarre moves, no, because and which are still resonating with them, because with Atalanta. Against Atalanta in defense started the Swedish 𝐜𝐭𝐴, who had a terrible game. He's on loan, but with an obligation to buy from Newcastle. Who made that deal? It's crazy. Then they paid 13 million for Costa, and he came on the second half against Atalanta, and he was terrible too. And for Fiorentina, tough week. Last one, losing in Greece in the Conference League, and then in Napoli they are playing tonight the second leg. So we will see how they arrive to that game physically and mentally to face Juventus. The odds for La Viola are huge. I won't go X1, but I believe that double chance looks good and more reasonable. That is my take. Fiorentina double chance 1.67.
Juventus double chance actually for Leo, and under 3.5 goals. Fiorentina double chance all the day for Constantino. And let me know what you think, Leo. David is saying that Mota and 𝐿𝐭𝐴𝐧𝐧𝐞𝐜 both deserve a second chance with Milan and Juve. Would you agree?
Not really. I don't know. I don't see. I don't see that they fit, especially 𝐿𝐭𝐴𝐧𝐽. I would never. For me, was out of the blue that they went for him when his manager that plays completely different to the players he has at his disposal. And for Mota, I mean, the case of a second season could be more relevant, because they went for him after what he has done with Bologna, and we all thought, okay, hopefully he's going to replicate that in Juventus, having better players, being one of the biggest team in Italy. But so far it's been poor. But if I need to make a case, probably I would say, okay, Mota is more appealing for me, but I don't think so.
Okay, well, and the last game we have in this match day is the derby, Lombardo derby, Nero-Azzurro, Atalanta, Inter. What a game this one for the fight for the Scudetto. 3 points away from the Champions League, but I guess, Leo, they are not tired, because it was an easy one going through to the quarterfinals, where they are going to face Bayern Munich. And the head-to-head is dominated by Inter. 7 consecutive Inter wins against Atalanta, including the Supercoppa, including recently 4-0 in Serie A, even this season. And Atalanta, they are having a lot of troubles when they are playing at home. They drop points, for instance, against Venezia and Cagliari. So I can see kind of value on Inter odds here.
Yeah, the odds on Inter are good, but I also found value on looking at the how it's been with Inter away from home lately, and how the draws are coming for them. It's the same as you mentioned with Atalanta at home lately, with Venezia, with Cagliari. Look, Inter drew the last 3 away games, and big games. I'm talking about, they drew with Milan, they drew with Juventus, they lost, with Juventus, and they drew with Napoli. So that's why I'm telling you now, I'm taking the route of a draw in this one. The parity is total. We can see it on the odds. Atalanta is not going to enjoy, of course, the spaces they had with Juventus, which they were free to run. But it was a good sight to see Lookman and Gasperini hugging each other after the Nigerian scoring in Turin. Between Lookman and Retegui, they have 35 goals between them, 13 for the Nigerian, 22 for Retegui. Difficult not to wonder about those draws that we just mentioned with Cagliari and Venezia. They could have been in a much better position coming into this game. They had a whole week to plan and to rest, although I agree with you, Edu, that it didn't take a massive effort from Inter to go to the quarterfinals this week in Champions League. but still, it's not something that I will leave it on the side, the physicality, because we know Atalanta is a team that's gonna take you, is gonna make you sweat, marking you man all over the pitch for long periods of the game. Can at this moment Inter anyway replicate and match that intensity? Well, against Monza they were mentally somewhere else, which is normal, I would say. It was crucial that Arnautovic reduce the deficit before the half time. Then after they make it 3-2, it could have been 4-2 or even 5-2 for Inter. But this is gonna be a cagey game, a tight game for sure, and that's why again I'm pointing to the draw here. I find very good value there, 3.4. That's my take, a draw between Atalanta and Inter. So basically, I'm pointing to a match day 29 in which Napoli might retake top of Serie A.
Well, massive 2 for David, both teams to score 𝑋2 for 𝗵𝐿, Mati 𝗵𝐿𝐵. Don't think Atalanta lose this one after beating Juventus. Gasperini loves Inter and never wins against them. Well, the head-to-head is really bad for Atalanta against Inter. Last win was in 2018. So the head-to-head is really negative for Atalanta. Great game, really interesting this three-horse race in Serie A, although Inter, big favorites to win the Scudetto. I'm checking the odds in Oddspedia, 1.75, Napoli to win, 2.85, and Atalanta, 7. Leo is betting on Juve, 67 to win the Scudetto at this moment in time. Well, guys, of course, you are able also to post your own tips in Oddspedia. We have tipster competitions going on where you can win some cash prizes, and there you go, monthly, yearly, Premier League, NBA, and also we have rivals at your disposal. So if you want, you can create your own tipster competition or join the one that was already created. You see the Champions League one. You can bet on Real Madrid to win the Champions League. Still, of course, available this bet after the penalty shootout of yesterday. Leo, tell me your safe bet.
Napoli to win, 1.51.
And your ACCA?
ACCA Milan 𝐿𝐴 goals over 2.5. Napoli to win, and Fiorentina Juventus, both teams to score yes, a total of 5.32.
Brilliant, Leo Bachanian. Thank you very much. Thank you, guys. Bye.